just tell me honestly, honestly. Yeah, where are we going? Yeah, where are we going? Yeah, where are we going?
Where's the fire?
Not even alcoholic.
No, it's not. She's drinking apple juice. So, this lovely Friday evening, happy quarantine, we are at home. We had lobster. We devoured it. And I discovered Kristen's superpower. I'm so jealous. I don't think I'm ever going to get over this. You know that now? Every time I go out with you, I'm going to be like... Just thinking about how I wish I was you. So, do you want to kind of give them a synopsis of what it is, and then I'll talk about how I'm struggling and how you could never struggle in the area that I'm struggling?
Well, we're all different. We're all different people. We all struggle with different things.
Yes.
I just can't. I can't with you.
I just poured this too. This is not the giggles from the wine. It's the giggles from us. So...
Should I introduce myself to the folks?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'm just like, everyone already knows who Kristen, because I feel like I talk about you and tag you a lot. But guys, this is Kristen the Great. She does everything. If any of you guys have seen really anything I've put on the internet, she's probably helped. But she is a dancer, I almost always say choreographer, and I know it's choreographer, but my mouth just doesn't want it. Anyways, every time, this happens every day at least. So, she wears all the hats, every single hat. She's done theater in New York, no big deal. And she pretty much runs her own studio. She does dance classes every day. I never see her because she works like more hours than there is in a day. I don't know how anyone's capable of it, but she is. And
You're doing great.
Probably missing some things.
No,
there's
that's okay.
a lot.
Keep
There's
hyping
a
me
lot.
up. This feels good.
She's pretty great. And my roommate. So, well, housemate, because we don't live in the same room, but we used to. So, we were roommates. We were roommates in college, and that's how we met.
Yes.
And thank God to my other friend, our other friend, mutual friend, Chelsea with an IE, that introduced us.
Mm-hmm.
God bless her.
Yes.
So,
And here we are today.
yeah.
9 years?
Yeah.
9 years
I
later?
believe it's 9 or 10.
Something like that.
So, and now we're living back together again.
Yes.
Reunion!
Yay!
So, go ahead.
So, we just had a great conversation, and I would say that all of our conversations are great because I feel like you and I are just, well, we're just great people. No, I feel like, I'm not going to get through this, you guys.
I can't even, maybe it's the sugar. I'm just going to make it worse. I'm just going to eat gummies and sugar and wine and just keep laughing and have to pee.
Oh my gosh, can't do this. We have great conversations. Mm-hmm. You and I are different people in many ways, but I feel like we have the same heart.
Yeah.
And we're both really hard workers and really ambitious people. And we have a lot of goals. We enjoy conversing, and a lot of our conversations are really deep conversations, really meaningful conversations. So we just had a conversation just now about relationships and dating and how we go about our relationships in our lives and how we do things, and really getting to the nitty-gritty of who we are, as young single women living in 2020. So so the superpower in which you're referring to, I think I wouldn't call it a superpower so much as just the way that how I relate to, other people in a relationship. For me, it's really I'm going to describe this appropriately, the best way possible. Just to make it really clear. But for me, it's my, like, growing up and, you know, becoming the person that I am, I was always like, whatever, like, boys, like, whatever, like, didn't really have crushes, wasn't really interested, was kind of doing my own thing, and I just kind of attributed that to being like, well, I have so much other stuff going on, like, this is not something that's important to me. But like, it continued throughout my life where I was just like, this is not a priority. Like, men, who knows? I don't care about them at all. Like, this is, like, I'm doing my thing. And then, what I started to learn is, like, I really need to have an emotional connection to someone before I feel like I can move on to the next level with this person and we can become, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. So it really, you know, superpower, meaning that, you know, it's just, I feel like in a lot of ways that mentality and that emotional element that I have has, you know, I have really great, deep, meaningful connections with people, you know, before I decide I want to be in a relationship with them or what have you. But what it also does is it just, like, it's just not as much fun. Like, you know, you just don't, like, get to go out and, like, be like, oh, he's cute. Like, let's get it on, or whatever the kids do these days.
Meaning, she's not tempted by Tinder. She's not tempted at bars. She's not tempted ever. Meaning she does not get tempted. This is the biggest superpower I've ever heard of in my life. She can focus. She can, like, focus on things that, like, other girls that are boy crazy and always thinking about boys and see, like, a random dude walk away from a mile and they're like, that might be my husband. That doesn't happen to her. I'm dead. Yeah, so
in that way,
superpower.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that, you know, I have to have this emotional connection with somebody first before anything else, you know, is gonna happen. And I feel like in that element we're not the same, but it does allow us to have great conversations about what that means for both of us, and it also helps us to realize, you know, past behaviors in dating and past behaviors, you know, in life in general, and how are we gonna move forward with that knowledge, and what does, you know, pursuing our future husband look like? What does that mean?
So yeah, that's what we were really talking about, is, like, challenging ourselves and, like, how are we going to move forward, and how can we both help each other with the knowledge that we have, because she, like, doesn't go out and see people as, like, potentials, because you can't go meet someone and automatically see their soul, whereas I go meet everyone and I just automatically am like, that could be the best person ever. I must get to know them just in case they are. And so it's, like, literally a balance between the two of us would be perfect. So we kind of, again, like, really complement each other because we have this insight on how the other person's brain work that we can kind of give to each other. And, you know, hopefully in the future, if we're ever allowed out of the house again, it will really serve us when being in public. But I was kind of just sharing with Kristen that I actually had my ex tell me I'm literally a guy's worst nightmare to date, because it's so funny. Because, and I see what he means, because I, when I was single, you know, I would see everyone as potential, because I don't know them, and because I'm similar in that I can't really move on to the next level until I know a person, but I won't let anyone know that, and I will in my brain just be like, they could be. I could, if I got to know that person, they could be great. And 99.9% of the time what happens is I will go because I'm looking for the best and I'm assuming the best. So I'll meet, you know, Bob, Joe, and Smith, and I'll talk to all of them. And 9 times out of 10, they're all grossly disappointing. But, you know, then I'm stuck in this spot where it's like, I just made all 3 of them think I like them, because I wanted to get to know them and because I had such high hopes of the potential that they are. And that's really frightening because it was not, and I think a lot of girls do this, especially, like, that's why you go on, you know, Tinder and all these dating apps and you have, like, 75 people in your queue. And I decided a while ago against dating apps because I was like, this is too confusing. You get all these people and it just gets kind of confusing, and you can like kind of find one and get to a deeper place, but I also just think you can't really get to know someone online the same as there's something just about being in person. But that's a whole nother conversation. But the point is that it is hard when you're dating someone that sees everyone as an opportunity when they're single. Like, how do you know that they're not going to do that when you're in a relationship? So I think that that's one thing that for me right now, it's just really, really important for me to take this time of being single to prove not only to my partner, but to myself that will never be a struggle. It has never been a struggle for me in that it caused me to cheat or caused me to I don't know, do anything that I'm ashamed of, and I think it is pretty normal and pretty regular for girls to be like dating around and then they choose one person and they date just them. But I think that there's something really to be said for us spending time by ourselves for a while before we enter into a relationship. So I'm really throwing myself under the bus here, but it's, you know, it's a thing, and I think that it needs to be talked about because there are girls in both situation, and like, how do you deal with that? And that's something I never even considered and thought about. And to me right now, I'm like, that sounds wonderful. Go to a bar and I don't see any of them as options, or even go to church. I don't see any of them as options right away. I just see them as people until I get to know, like, that's ideally what I would like. Instead, I see all people as like, well, you never know. They could be potential, unless they're just like really, really obviously not. Try to say that as nicely as possible. But a great deal of I try to see the best in everyone, and that can be dangerous. So I think that it's really important for us women that are like me to kind of figure that out and learn to be like, okay, if I see all these people as options, what am I going to do in a relationship? How am I not going to put myself in a situation when I do have a boyfriend that'll be tempting for me? What I didn't really think about, because when I am in a relationship, I'm very, very obsessive. So I put my energy into, when I don't have a guy, I will like, that's why I'm constantly looking for like a million different options. I'm like, this one could be it. This one could be the one. This one could be the one. And then when I find one that's the one, I get like, whoosh, and I like, everything is them.
Yeah.
So for me, hearing someone be like, well, because you talked to all those guys when you were single, you're going to do that when you're in a relationship, was just mind-boggling to me, because I know what's going on in my head, and all that's going on in my head is literally my boyfriend. To the point where it's like, I can't even get anything done without thinking about him. Like, I'm always thinking about him. But the thing that we don't think about is that, like, well, that is when we're young or everything's going right, or even when we're fighting, it's still fresh, it's still new, so of course I'm still thinking just about him. But like, what are we going to do later in life when one of us, you know, gets really sick, or we're both old, or one of us gets paralyzed, or we lose all of our money? And I think that's, for me, I find it really important for me to take this time and prove to myself that something you're naturally blessed with can actually be a learned behavior, and we can choose to be like, you know what, I am going to go into spaces and choose that if I am going through a really hard time with my husband, I'm going to look back and be like, I spent a year or two of my life without being tempted and training myself to not see everyone as options, but to see them just as people, and allow, you know, just the relationships to be what they are, and just to be able to trust yourself, I think, is super important.
Yeah, I think it's just important to recognize, you know, your natural behavior. What's your natural instinct? Are you the kind that's like, no, I really do need to sit down and know somebody before anything else, you know? Or are you the kind of person that's like, no, actually, I want to date a bunch of people and get to know a bunch of people at the same time. And I think, like, you can do anything responsibly in the right way.
Yeah.
But first know who you are.
Yeah.
And then take that next, you know, step in your journey.
Yeah.
And decide, you know, what kind of behavior is actually toxic and is actually not going to feed the relationship that I'm going to have with my husband or my boyfriend or whatever, and just recognizing that in yourself, before you bring that into your dating life or your relationship.
Yeah, no, 100%. So that's our little bit of food for thought tonight. Just like wanted to dive in real deep on a Friday night for you. But hopefully it helps you guys, gives you guys some insight. If you have any questions, leave them below, or any comments. We're going to be doing apple juice wine night more often.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks
It was
for
lovely to
having
be
me
here.
in your house.
Yeah. Hopefully I can join you for more.
Yeah.
And we'll just educate all y'all.
We're going to educate you a little too much.
We're all gonna learn a lot.
Yeah. So, cheers. Happy Quarantine Friday.
Cheers.
So, I still feel funny. Does that
It's
look
like
better?
Fireside Chats with Kristen and Josko.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.